Guys, this is Brian with Half Baked Powder Coating. I want to talk for a small minute about turbos and how I got suckered. When I bought this kit, I was told that yeah, it comes with the standard turbo, which is like $176 or something, and it's got floating wet bearings. But for an extra $250, I can upgrade to ball bearing turbo bearings because that's better, right? After I bought it and had it brought to me, I was like, okay, So I did a little research afterwards, which I probably should have did in the first place. And here's what I found out. Okay, so one of the guys that actually works for a major turbo company had a video online, and he was talking about how floating wet bearings are actually better than ball bearing turbos. And the reason for that is you have to keep the oil very, very clean. Now, here's why. Okay, you got to imagine that ball bearing turbos are round, right? And just like caster wheels on a cart, if you roll along on the floor, if you hit even the smallest rock, it stops the wheel. Now, let's say this is my pressure line come from my motor for my turbo. A little piece of casting comes off inside the block or something, or a piece of the cam or something like that, and it ends up going into the turbo. Now it gets nailed by that, it gets stuck between one of those balls and that bearing, that ball bearing, and it will slowly destroy it. So actually, it's better off to have the floating wet bearings because those take the abuse and they're okay with it versus the ball bearings, which they can't take the kind of abuse. If you damage a ball bearing, it disintegrates really fast. And you'll realize that when you look at a car wheel bearing. You smash a pothole, you drive around through town, you smash a pothole, and all of a sudden that sucker starts growling. And then you got a week or two, and that thing's loose, wobbling, growling really bad, damn near falling off. The wheels, the brakes are grinding because the rotor's rubbing. So, it's the same kind of principle. And the only time a ball bearing turbo is actually better is when you get to a really, really big turbo, like 100 millimeter or bigger. I've actually got a friend of mine that owns a pulling tractor company, and they run some of the biggest turbos you've ever seen in your life. They're like $100,000 a piece. And those have special ball bearing turbos that are actually coated with a special chemical to make them almost free float when you spin them. But we're talking some high dollar stuff here. But for your normal everyday car stuff, you should really stay away from ball bearing turbos. It's not worth the extra money. They say it's worth more horsepower. It's not. I've talked to Richard Holdner. He's got a YouTube channel, and he told me straight out, he's like, I've never seen a ball bearing turbo make more power. And he doesn't even think about whether or not it's a ball bearing turbo or not when he buys a turbo. And he's done hundreds and hundreds of turbo builds. So if that guy don't know it, then nobody does. So I just thought I'd throw that out to you. Don't waste your money on the upgrade. In fact, if you're going to do anything when you buy this kind of a kit, don't buy the T76 turbo. Buy the kit without this turbo, and then buy a GT45. It's actually will produce about 100 horsepower more. It's a better turbo. So yeah, don't go with the T76 or T75 or whatever. Unless it's a 78, 75, then that's bigger. But a GT45 is a better turbo, and you can get those off eBay for like $176. So that's pretty sweet, and they'll make 800 horsepower. Anyway, like and subscribe. We'll talk to you soon.